Good morning and happy Thursday, heading up the close of the week. Excuse my eye has a little blepharitis, and it's due to all the dry air here in Arizona, causing a little eye swelling. But that does not stop us. That does not stop me. That does not stop me from being on this call to share some wisdom and share a little bit of knowledge that can get you through the week. So one of the big things that I do in my business development and a formula that I pretty much swear by with all of the KPIs that you have out there, key performance indicators that you have out there, whether you are on the sales floor, you are a sales leader, you are a sales manager, supervisor, director, operating officer, however you land in the system of sales and business development, there is a formula for you to work on that will generate a key performance indicator. And when we're looking at these KPIs, these specific metrics that show up in our data, we're looking for the levers that can be turned up and down to increase revenue. That's the end game. We want to increase revenue, increase our salaries, increase our commissions, and overall scale the business. And the difference between scale and scaling. So when we scale, we are actually growing the size of our business. We may be adding more people, may be adding more inventory, but when we're scaling, we're taking the process in which that we do things and we're making things that we do better. And the best way for scaling is through these key performance indicators. And one of my mentors, Victor Antonio, did a fantastic talk with my sales mastery group not too long ago, and he broke down one of the basics things that I learned from him, which is learning the sales velocity formula. And it is a common formula in business. It's not commonly used, which is kind of ironic, but it's a common formula. And those businesses that have been massively successful into the billions of dollars really hone in on four basic metrics. And the rest of the things that are measured are kind of more micro. And this macro measurement, which can actually be scaled down into a micro measurement, really gives you four levers to choose and to move up and down, depending on what your outcome is or what your outcome is you're looking for. So really quick, I had this gem of a presentation that Victor had done for me with my group, and was very gracious with his time. And if you haven't looked at Victor Antonio yet, I suggest, and I'll leave a link in the comment in the description section, and you can take a look at his many books, and also he has a podcast, he has a video website, he also has uh, a very busy presentation schedule, so you can probably see him live. But here he is explaining exactly what the sales velocity formula is.
And I know Benny's seen this one. Now let's talk about, so I'm 30,000 feet. How do I grow my business? Let's zoom in and let's figure out how do we grow our sales, right? So how do we grow our sales? So if you're not familiar with the sales velocity equation, here it is, right? Let me move my big head down there. Okay. The sales velocity equation says this. You can calculate the velocity of how much you're selling if you take the number of opportunities in your pipeline, your close rate, you multiply it by your close rate, you multiply it by your average deal size, and you divide it by your sales cycle, right? That's how you calculate your sales velocity. Now, here's what's interesting, and they talk about that in the book, The Jolt Effect, but also the people who really brought this to my attention was, there's a guy by the name of, are you familiar with Tim Reister? So there's a guy by the name of Tim Reister. I can't spell this guy's name. It's like that. Look him up. He's with a company called Corporate Visions. His stuff is next level, right? He's got a book called Conversations That Win the Complex Sale. The Expansion Sale was one of his latest books. Gold. I'm not, if I can, so this is a mastermind. Can I be blunt? And it's after 5 o'clock. Can I be blunt? Is that okay? Okay, just cover your, just hit the mute button. You don't want to hear this. This is one of the few guys not going to give you bullshit that you've already heard 100 times, right? It's not regurgitated crap. It's real science, real data. That's what I like about Matt Dixon's book. Also, real science, real data. So I typically follow Tim Reister, Matt Dixon I like, and then there's a guy by the name of, in case you wonder who I like, there's a guy who also wrote The Challenger Sale with Matt Dixon. His name is Brent Adamson. And so these two guys plus Matt Dixon are the guys that I really like to follow closely because they're always trying to share real data about what's happening in the world of selling without fluffing you to death, which I don't like, right? Okay. Benny, is that too harsh? Let me know if that's too harsh. I could pull back on the joystick. So anyway, so this is how you calculate your sales velocity. So in the book by Tim Reister, I think it was I forgot which book it was. I think it was The Expansion Sale, one of those books. He talked about that on average, you will win 40% of your deals, right? They did a cross-sectional study on different industries, and on average, you win 40% of your deals. You lose 60% of your deals, right? So this is your win, your loss. The question then becomes, where did that 60 go? And what they discovered is that 20% goes to your competition, and then 40%, Benny, goes where? Did I catch you off guard? Goes to no decision. Yeah, no decision. So now, what does this tell you? That your real competition is not your competition. Your real competition is what? The no decision. And I think that's an important point to highlight, that sometimes it's really just that we're not presenting to them correctly. And we'll talk about that in a bit. I'll come back to that. Just wanted to highlight the 40% here. So let's say that you have.
All right, before he continues, and yes, he did catch me off guard because I was actually working the background, making sure that all the information was being disseminated to the team. Those few books that he mentioned, I suggest, I'm also going to leave those in the description. So if you look down in the description, you'll be able to find the links to these books. They give you additional information that you can use with this sales, with this formula, with the sales velocity formula, and really gives you more ideas of what you are looking for with your opportunities, what you were looking for with your closing ratio, and what your average daily sale or average deal volume is. So the ADS or ADV can be a mixture of what your average sale is for your item, or it could actually be a collection of your upsells, cross sells, and references or referrals. So if you can get a sale and you typically upsell 2 or 3 items, that is a process you want to hone in on. And specifically, if you have one go-getter, if you have a real good, solid sales representative, or you are that good solid sales representative that is able to consistently upsell, where you have a product that only costs a certain amount, and then you have a few accessories, and you see the data over a period of time. Typically, you want to do like 30 days or 45 days, and you want to see, does this salesperson, or do you sell 4 or 5 other items or some other add-ons that always raise the price of the basic sale? So when you're looking at your average dollar amount that is a purchase price, a sales rep can actually add more onto that, which turns that average deal velocity, or your deal volume, I should say, or your average daily sale, which is a similar metric in this equation.
Use a different color here. Let's say that you have, so you can calculate your sales velocity. Let's say that you have 10 leads in your pipeline right now, 10 potential leads in your pipeline. Your close rate is 40%. It's called at 0.4, right? To keep it simple, your average deal size is $1,000. You can replace it with 10,000. You can replace it with 100,000. Take your pick. And let's say it takes 30 days. Benny, help me here in case I can't get my math right. So 10 times this is 4. That's 4,000 divided by 10 times 0.4 is 4. 4 times 1,000, that's 4,000 divided by 30. What is that? What is that, Benny?
133.3.
133.33. Okay. Per day. That's your sales velocity. And it's a way of kind of saying, okay, this is how fast we're selling, how much we're selling every day. Now, here's where it gets special. Did you know? And if you didn't know, you will now. Did you know that if I can just increase this number, the number of opportunities by pipeline by 10%, just 10%, if I can increase this by 10%, which would make that 11, if I can increase my close rate from 0.4, 40% to 0.44, 44%, right? If I can increase this by 10%, my average deal size, every time I close a deal by 10%, and I can reduce this by 10%, which means that would be 27 days, right? If you calculate the number, here's what you're going to find. That by simply increasing this by 10%, close rate by 10%, average deal size by 10%, reducing this by 10%, you will increase your revenue by 47%.
All right, so let's test that. I've got a equation calendar that we can throw these numbers into. And oop, here it is. Let's throw it over here. And this will give us a real clear idea of what why, not what, but why the sales velocity formula is key for you to be able to increase your productivity. So what he was saying is, let's go back over here. Technical difficulties. Trying to open up so many screens. So we keep this and let's put this out over here so I can look at it over here. So he was basically saying we got 10 and that our closing ratio was at 40%, which is generous. And our deal volume was at $1,000, right? Our closing ratio was keep it at 30 days. And that was our 133.33, right? So if we take this formula and do what he said, and we increase this by 10%, we increase this by 10%, and then we increase this by 10%, and decrease this, notice that already jumped up, to 27 days, we now go up to a sales volume from 133.33 to 197.19. Okay, Benny, let's do that math. So over here on my calculator, we calculate 197.19, 333, and we see 47%. So the math holds up. Now, what does all this really mean? What does all this really mean to us? So when we're playing around with our lead generation, right now is probably one of the most fantastic times to find lead generation. There are so many different outlets to find leads. And we're able to get leads at almost at a very small amount. Of course, you may have to pay for someone to go do some lead generation. You may buy a list. You may subscribe to a service. However you do it, the return on the investment can balance out easily, specifically if you use this formula. So when we're looking at it, the number of opportunities, the average deal value or volume, and the win conversion rate with the length of the sales cycle, paying attention to these levers and actually working these levers gives you the most favorable opportunity to succeed. And if you dial up your opportunities to a specific amount, mine is I look to get anywhere between 500 to 1,000 additional leads added into my pipeline and disseminate that across the sales team. The more sales reps I have, the more leads I pour into the pipeline. I will always consistently look at the leads. And when you do this, you will see, regardless of whatever metric you start to dial in, if you dial up your leads, let's say we just go to 100 leads, watch this figure, bam. That's just dialing in and at a 44% conversion rate. So let's just say we're not that good as a sales team, and we're basically half as good at 22%. We drop significantly. So now what does that mean? We either have to start training, which is going to cost more time, effort, and resources, or we can pay for more leads. So let's add this up and dial it up significantly. We add 1,000 leads a month. Bam. Now we're even more than we were with the higher conversion rate. This is the way that you can sit in your meetings and discuss how you can move things up. If you can allocate more resources toward adding more leads and keep your sales team at a standard, and then start to incrementally 1%, just 1% of a change significantly increases your daily velocity significantly. If you just work to lower you work just one bitty bit to go down 1 point to 26 days, you jump. If you raise this just a tad bit, and we add just $50 to this, bam. This is what you want in your sales meetings, so that way you're increasing confidence, you're increasing certainty, and you're increasing the capability of your entire team. Now, I went really long on this one because it's important that because we're in a really great opportunistic time. June is one of the best times for you to grasp onto concepts like this and really push these levers. I'm seeing it happen in real time with the companies I'm working with now. And I know for a fact, specifically when I talk with people like Victor Antonio and Brandon Dawson and all these other guys who are masters at scaling businesses and bringing businesses to scale, they're dialing in these types of metrics. So a little long today, but it's worth it. BizDev Morning Brew, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, closing out the week. Tomorrow's the bonus Friday. I am going to be on the road next week, so this is going to be a fun time for me to be able to test my road ability. And I also want to share with you some of the things that I'm going to be experiencing while I'm on the road doing business development and working with the companies that I work with, and expanding and doing the same things that you're doing on a regular basis. We're making all the changes and adjustments that are necessary for our sales teams to succeed, and for us to be able to consistently up the bar and build the standard to a new standard to a new standard, always increasing to the best that we can possibly be. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and pray for my eye, because it's a little annoying to have this kind of a thing happening, especially when I'm on camera. But I hope you're doing well, and see you next time.